boy down FIGGA, stay in the game, baby, you know what I'm saying? You know what it is, y'all. Grown Folks Lounge in the place to be. Legendary EMAN, we up in the place to be right now, doing our thing. We got something special today, y'all, you know what I'm saying? I definitely want to introduce some great people to you, man. And, you know, we're just going to be a part one of a great, awesome story. So what I want to do is just start it off by letting y'all introduce to Ed Roldan. Y'all seen him, he's been here a couple of times. And he's bringing one of his mentees here today, my man Paul Nickerson, in the place to be. Ignite Change. Ignite Change, he's going to tell you a little bit about that, you know what I'm saying, and you know, let you know what's going on with Ignite Change. So Ed, why don't you tell him a little bit about what's happening right now and who Mr. Paul Nickerson is.
Well, it's a great pleasure for me to bring in Paul Nickerson III. I've known Paul since the age of 7. I've had the great pleasure of mentoring him over all these years. He's 29 now, and we still are very, very not only close friends, but I am still having that mentor relationship with him as he continues to expand his horizons. I've had the great pleasure of working with him as a young man at our local Boys and Girls Club when I was a program director there, and he has truly made me proud. And today I bring him here to Grown Folks Lounge to introduce one of my stars, one of my shooting stars, and for him to give a testimony of the impact that I had on him, not only as his mentor, but the impact that he's having on his surrounding communities now with the projects that he's doing with Ignite Change, which is a tremendous program that is growing rapidly like a wildfire in the New York City area and also up in Westchester County. So I won't really hold it up much there as we go. I'll talk a little bit more about Paul, but I've had the great pleasure of working with him now for 22 years. And he's done a tremendous job, and I'm very proud of him. And this just shows my 37 years of work with the youth in my surrounding communities in the New York City area of how I've been able to impact a young man's life, and now his contributions as a productive citizen, coming back home and impacting his community and his hometown.
I think that's awesome, man, you know what I'm saying, because it's very important as OGs, you know, to reach back and pass the torch, you know what I'm saying, and give something positive to the up-and-coming generations so that they can have what we didn't have, you know, and they can have better lives, and they can also keep contributing to changing the world for better, you know what I mean? So with that, I'm going to introduce you all to Paul Nickerson. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and about Ignite, what that's all about. And, you know, we can't get it all in one interview, y'all. So, you know, we're just going to give you a little bit today. And then, you know, we're going to get them back up here. But for now, Mr. Paul Nickerson.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Paul Nickerson III. First and foremost, we're in the Grown Folks Lounge, so I want to thank my good man, Dom. And I want to thank Coach Ed Roldan. Like he said, he's known me since I was 7 years old. I'm 29 years old now. I was the first student athlete to ever become the president of Clark Atlanta University Business School. I went there on a basketball scholarship in 2006, got my undergrad degree in 2009, went straight through, got my MBA in 2011. They created 2 positions for me. I was the president of the business school, and alongside of that, I was a graduate assistant to the athletic director. So I was pretty much the first point of contact for all corporate sponsors and event management when we did that. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm a God-fearing man, and I'm happy that God has brought us together today to tell a little bit of my story and definitely tell how Coach Ed Roldan had an impact on me. Most importantly, Ed Roldan taught me about life skills. You know, some coaches, they just roll the ball out and let you play. But Ed Roldan taught me, he exposed me to athletic opportunities. He impressed upon me the importance of academics, and then he also taught me how to be a young man, how to conduct myself, how to speak publicly at an early age, and I'm truly thankful for. There's not one person in the world that has more of an impact on my life than Ed Roldan, outside of many other people like my dad. I'm a product of my environment. My dad was the only college basketball player in his family, and the only person to get a scholarship to a Division I school in his family, and he didn't have a father. So my dad is probably my biggest influence in my life. But right up there is guys like Ed Roldan, because, like I said, not only did he teach me the importance of athletics, but he taught me the importance of being a young man in society that doesn't want you to win, that wants you to fail, and wants you to get caught up in the peer pressure. So, you know, with that being said, I'm here today to talk about Ignite Change. Ignite Change is my cause marketing agency I started. We're partnering athletes, entertainers, celebrities, brands with community-based organizations to promote social change. Right now, my largest client is Sports and Arts in Schools, After School Foundation. We have a contract of 100 plus schools, about 27,000 kids. So, like you said, as a young G, I look at my OGs and I see and I listen, and I'm a sponge and I absorb everything you guys taught me, and now I want to pay that forward to the next generation. So that's my goal with Ignite Change, just to impact as many kids as moving forward as possible in the New York City area, then eventually go nationally and then eventually go globally.
That's awesome, man. You know, it's good to hear, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, right now in the world today is so much going on with the young people, man, and you know, not all bad though. There's a lot of good going on, but for some reason you don't really hear a lot about the good. So that's why we're here, man. You know, we want to put the spotlight on people like this brother here, who are the next ones coming up right after us. You know what I'm saying? And right under him, because the young man is 29 now. So I mean, you still got the teens and everything. You know, he's a mentor to them. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this is a cycle that we got to keep. This thing happened because we're losing our young people today, man. So much violence and crime, and you know, it's awesome to know that there's brothers like yourself that are doing what you're doing and trying to make change and really make things happen. You know what I mean? So I'm just so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that Ed ROLDAN was there for you, mentoring you. And you know, it's like they say you can be an uncle to anybody when you're an OG. So you know, we got so many youth that we mentor, you know, we just become uncles, and it's okay, man. I like to hold that title because I feel that if that makes a young man or a young woman feel comfortable with me working with them and it's helping them change, hey, why not, man? You know what I'm saying? Because I want to be a positive influence. Briefly, Ed, you know, how do you feel right now about Paul?
Well, you know, I'm very proud of him, obviously. You know, at the age of 7, you know, I was established a relationship with him at the local Boys and Girls Club where I was a program director. I exposed them not only to athletics, to untraditional sports, but I exposed them to public speaking and image and the impact that it has, and that first impressions are everlasting. So, you know, we talked about the difference of being in sweats and jeans versus being in a suit and a tie, and the impression that it makes, you know, on the people that you're out in front of speaking to. It's very dynamic, it's everlasting, and it opens up doors because it shows that you're in a position not only to be empowered, but in a position to excel. And Paul has done a tremendous job like that. He's definitely one of my shooting stars when it comes to my mentoring program there that I've had and I continue to do with young people, and I'm very proud of him. He's done an outstanding job, and he's a great example of coming from a nuclear family and working together where, you know, my inspiration came that I came from an extended family and my father figure wasn't there, and I inspired young men like him to be able to go ahead and be put into that position of empowerment, excel, and then go ahead and trailblaze. You know, there's a lot of work and a lot of focus and determination that it takes, and that's the difference between the good ones and the great ones, or the ones that could have been. And Paul is a tremendous example of what greatness can be when you commit yourself and you focus and you know what the pecking order is. And if you don't understand what the pecking order is, then it's very easy to come astray and lose focus and fall into the traps also that life has. But I'm very proud of him. Today, you know, as we've met and we've discussed business and the positive things that's happened for him, we came into a tremendous collaboration also. And we're going to work together, and I'm going to impact through certain contributions that I'm affiliated with, will make to his program to affect the 27,000 kids that he services in the New York, Westchester area. And I'm looking real forward to impacting those 120 locations and helping them grow that to be dynamic. And, you know, Bill Gates needs to watch out, because you see this guy right here, #1 philanthropist in the world, up and coming. And I'm telling you right now that if he don't become the mayor someday, like I keep telling him, or my U.S. Senator, I'd be real disappointed, because he has the potential to do that. And that's why I trust him so much and I believe in him so much.
And that's awesome too, because it's an awesome feeling to know somebody supports you, man. You know what I mean? And I feel like today's society, a lot of young people do some of the things they do because they feel like they don't have the support. And I hear them talk about it. Sometimes I'm on the bus, the train, I hear how the kids talk about the parents don't support them, the people don't support them. You know, some of it could be true, some could be false, but I think we need to push as much positive images and situations as we can so that it gives these kids something to hold on to and to look forward to. And it's great to know that this young man was able to grab hold of it at a young age, and it helped to grow him, because I'm sure he's had his bumps and his scrapes coming up. It wasn't easy, so don't get it twisted. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to Paul a little bit more about some of those things so he can let you know his journey to getting to where he is today. It's boy Down Figure Stay the Game. Grown Folks Lounge is the place to be. Legendary E-Man, Man Lab Bank. It's what we do, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Keeping you informed, and we'll be back right after this. Boy Down Figure, stay in the game, baby, you know what I'm saying? Grown Folks Lounge. We in the building right now, Legendary E-Man. That's what we do, y'all. We back. My man Ed Roldan, Southeast Bronx Youth Coalition. And my man Paul Nickerson. Ignite change, baby. Ignite. Ignite to me means start something. Start it. Get it going. Spark it. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling that. You know what I mean? And Paul, I'd just like you to, you know, tell me a little bit more about Ignite Change, not Ignite, Ignite, and some of the people, you know, you're working with right now, just a little bit more.
Okay. Well, pretty much with Ignite Change, what we want to do is galvanize our support from the local brands, the big brands, you know, athletes, entertainers, and celebrities. But like we were talking to on the break, you know, it doesn't take you to be famous or a celebrity to have an impact on these kids. It takes the firemen, the police officers, the lawyers, the dentists, the doctors. These kids gotta know that there's more than one way to get out the ghetto, get out the hood. And that's where I come from. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I got respect in Castle Hill Projects, Soundview Projects, Bronxdale, Bronx River Projects, because they know I'm from there. They can identify with me.
Right.
They see me go through the struggle. But at the end of the day, they know I could go talk to the mayor, de Blasio, or I could go talk to Mayor Kasim Reed in Atlanta. You know, I could get in those doors because I have education. So I use education, I use basketball to get to the next level. So with Ignite Change, we're doing a bunch of athletic programs, a bunch of community-based programs, pretty much, you know, promoting social change. So right now on the table, we got a lot of deals on the line, a lot of different brands that's directly want to get involved with what we're doing. So, you know, I'm just counting my blessings and I'm following God's plan. Right here we got something called the Math Maze. You know, I just heard about it today, but it's a great game because it teaches you not only social skills, but math literacy. And that's what it's all about. I think, you know, the school system and teachers don't get mad at me for saying this, but I don't think there's enough communication skill classes. I don't think there's enough finance classes. There's not enough budgeting classes. There's no entrepreneurship classes, you know, in the public school systems in New York. So, you know, that's what we're trying to do. And for them to see a young man that has a business that looks like them and dresses like them and talks like them, and when I play basketball I sweat like them, then they know that they can do it as well. So, you know, that's what Ignite is pretty much all about. And like you said, Dom, it's about igniting something inside of you. And, you know, like Coach Roldan did for me, he sparked that interest in me to want more. I always stayed late after practice. I always did a little bit extra. I always asked questions, and that was because guys like him and guys like my dad and OGs like yourself that taught me that there's more than just the Bronx, New York. You know, I've traveled all around the world, and I just want to be able to showcase that it's possible too.
So, were there any like stumbling blocks where you thought, you know, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, man? And if there were, how did you overcome those things?
Right. Well, yeah, there's definitely stumbling blocks. I mean, especially where we from, there's not a lot of people that make it out. So it's the peer pressure of, Paul, you want to go to school? Or you going to school in Atlanta? Why you going to school in Atlanta? My freshman year, I went to junior college in Oklahoma. Why you going out there? But these were opportunities that were afforded to me because I listened to guys like Ed and my dad a long time ago. So I was always a little different in that sense that I never really let anybody deter me from my path. You know, I was a born point guard. So naturally I'm a leader, and I always have people looking up to me, whether they was 7 feet or shorter than me, 6'10", 6'9", whatever have you. So, you know, as far as the stumbling blocks, definitely the peer pressure, definitely the belief, because sometimes when you get low in certain situations that you go through, you feel like nobody's there for you. But then that's when there is guys like Ed Roldan and my dad that always tell me, Paul, you're gonna be somebody, keep on going, keep working. So, you know, to get back to where I had it to go and get on my path, I would reach out to Ed, or I reach out to my other mentors like Dr. Tamika Jones, who's now the associate director, athletic director at University of Texas San Antonio. People like that, they got me back on that path. And one thing about me, I've always been a good listener, more than a speaker. So I've always listened to their advice, and every time I got down or I got in a rut, I always reached out to somebody I respect that's been there before, and I took their advice and I ran with it. And you know, that's what I tell kids today. It's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. So I'm willing to sacrifice everything I got to get to that next level.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. It's good to see that you stayed on the right path, man. That you didn't give up, man. And you know, in light of what he just said, and I'd like to ask you, were there any times where you had to kind of talk to him and keep him to hold his head?
You know, the one thing, Paul was always a kid, even when he was young. He was always a very focused young man. It wasn't challenging. He was always very coachable. So, you know, in that sense, it was easier and less challenging than some of the other youth that I've worked with. I've had youth that have come to see me, taken out their gun in my office, put it in my desk, take out their knives, whatever it is, and I've asked them just as a common courtesy to just put it in my desk and put it away. And you know, I have to build confidence within them that they know that I wouldn't formally betray them or expose that. And sometimes there's a chance that I take there by doing that. But you know, I have to build that confidence, that trust there. It's very important when you're molding a young man, especially if he's out in the streets, and you know, and you have those negative influences coming up upon him. I was very fortunate with Paul that Paul was like a sponge, you know, as he was saying earlier. You know, he was focused, he was determined, he was very easy to coach in the sense that he was very approachable. It was very easy to influence him, you know, because from very young, you know, I know his mother very well, I know his father very well, so there's good upbringing and guidance there. You know, he was always involved in programs, which the more programming you're involved with, the less time you got to be in the street to be influenced, which is also something that's very important, that kids don't give a chance to do that these days. They real quick to run to the streets and try to find on the corner instead of finding it somewhere where there's structure. And that was something that when it came to structure, he was all right with that, and embraced it and realized that, you know what, there's nothing wrong with structure. There's nothing wrong with the change that structure creates. And in there, it put him in a position where, you know, he was hungry, he wanted to learn, it kept him focused, it inspired him, you know, it gave him that desire to be the best he could possibly be. And when you have a child that you work with like that, a young man like that, and you see that in him, it continues to inspire you to continue to make him burn from within and bring the best out in him. And that was something that, you know, working with a young man like Paul inspired me to continue to inspire him. So I can never thank him enough for inspiring me and the work that I do, you know, because that's led on. I have many, many other Pauls, but like Paul's one of my shining stars, and I felt that I wanted to feature him because I have several alums that I'll introduce to you as we go along, and you keep learning about me and see how I've impacted their lives. You can see how I impact the lives of my community. You know, this holiday season, I've been out there giving out the turkeys, you know, to underprivileged families or needy families, HIV, AIDS, you know, establishments there to make sure that people too, and you know, they're a fellow man, and you treat them with dignity and respect also, and the unemployed. And then, you know, this year I had another category, obviously, that I went ahead and included in that giveaway, which was to recognize somebody who made a tremendous contribution to my community or my surrounding communities or in the Hispanic community. And I did that this year, you know, with Miss Juanita up out of Castle Hill Avenue, 30 years contributing to the Hispanic community. We've been in the political game together, supporting Ruben Diaz Jr. as an assemblyman who is now our Bronx Borough president. We've supported the Bronx, you know, Puerto Rican community through the parades, through the beauty pageants, you know, through programs that strengthen our community there and continue to inspire that. And, you know, I'm just real proud of Paul by staying focused and listening and embracing people that he knows that can open those doors for him and inspire him and let him shoot for the stars. But I will say this about Paul. If he's not my senator or not my mayor in the near future, you know, Bill Gates, he wants to be the #1 philanthropist. And I'll tell you this right now, I've never, ever seen Paul fail at something that he put his mind to, and I know that he's a true threat to that. And I know when he says it, he means it, and I'm real proud of him, and whatever he needs along the way, wherever I can inspire, and wherever I can help him, I will. And the new collaboration that we have to work together, and I can impact his 120 locations, which is going to touch about 27,000 kids, and use athletics and football and the math maze now to promote math literacy, be it through academics, be it through athletics and academics, okay, to continue to grow and to also build a competitive nature through math literacy will impact the lives of many. But the most important thing is that just like I've gone out and I've spoken to the youth and I've impacted young men like Paul, Paul is doing that now, and it's impressive when I can hold a conversation with him and he tells me that when he's speaking to a young group of young adults, young adolescents, and they turn around and a person tells them that they want to be like him. To me, you know what? I did a great job, because you know what? He's finally gotten the message that I tried to send to him, and now he's inspiring those in the same manner that he was inspired, and I can't thank him enough for that, because I never asked for anything. But you know what? My proof positives, my testimonials say it all, and I will always continue to lay it down in the village. And just like the village raised us, you know, we coming back now to raise the village to a whole nother level where it hasn't been.
That's awesome, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm just so honored to be sitting here with you guys, man. And you know, when you think about times and different stages of life and how people grow up, it's the same, but it may be different in certain ways, but it's really the same. It's just the impact is different. And you know, in our time, you know, we experienced what we experienced, and in his time, he experienced what he experienced. But our time, I think we had a little bit more against us, because we were still trying to get somewhere, to get equality and different things, and you know, we have to pass it down to them so that they don't have to go through those things that we went through. You know what I mean?
You know, one of the biggest things that, compared to back in the days when we were coming up, and back now in the days of Paul, is that we had less opportunities.
Right.
Because programming wasn't what it was then as it is now. There's so much corporate sponsorship, there's so many programs and outlets and things like that, that now it's a matter of young people reaching out and grabbing what's being put there. We wanted to grab it, but it wasn't there. There wasn't enough there. Now there's so much of it that all you got to do is just walk through the door and engage it. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest difference from when I was growing up now, is that I look at all the programming that they have, all the opportunities, all the clinics, all the hotlines that you could call in for educational help, for suicide help, you know, for social disorder, you know, agencies. You know, we were limited in those resources, and those and funding wasn't put to that. Funding was put more to the infrastructure. You know, and the development of the infrastructure and how it impacted, you know, the communities and how it grew the city and things of that nature, and everything was all grassroots with us, you know, where now, you know, it's not grassroots. You got foundations, you got philanthropists and people that are contributing to the programs of interest or things that drive them to try to drive others. And I think that is one of the biggest differences from our time to his time and moving forward, how his contributions in a time like this will evolve, and how technology will also play a role in the social development of people. Because now you don't have to get in front of a face. Now you can just sit in front of a screen. And you can reach somebody across on the other side of the world. And you can become global, and you never even stepped in their village. You never came into their country. I've been very fortunate as a soldier, as an athlete, and as a coach, that I've had the chance to travel around the world and lived amongst different cultures and societies. And no different that when I was influencing him as a young man, that I tried to expose him to that, you know, with the travel. I introduced him to untraditional sports. He was ranked 10th in the country for me as a young man in table tennis. I exposed him to top people at the USA Olympic Center, Barney Reed Jr., Dave Rodriguez, guys like that were representing the U.S. around the world in table tennis, competing locally, regionally, and nationally at the U.S. Open, meeting people all over the world. Those are dynamics that as a young man and traveling around the country, and the first time that you're away from home and you don't have anybody, those are things that are not only influential, but are dynamic and leave lifelong impressions on you that give you the ability. And one of the biggest things that we need to do today is to continue to expose the youth outside of the hood and get them out that concrete jungle. And you know what? Instead of taking them out to the corner or taking them out to the park, you know what? Hey, plan a trip and let's go to the university and let's check out what university life is about. Let's go to a college game and let's go see what college life is like. You understand what I'm saying? Because these are things that the more exposure you give to a young person as early as possible will determine the path that they pick as they start to grow and evolve socially, economically, recreationally. You know, because those are things that when you're from the hood, those are things that you're deprived. So you can't get that. But the more exposure you give them, the more awareness you create. And the more awareness you have, the more determined and focused you become. And that's how you achieve greatness. Because you don't ever want to be good, or you don't ever want to hear the story where, well, damn, I was good, but you know, I could have, I should have, this, that, and the other. But here you are still back in the projects. Here you're back up, you know, on the corner. Here you're back up at the bar, you know, chilling, talking about the legend that you was in the hood, where you could have been the legend that you've been talking about globally and nationally, and the impact that you've had on people, not only in your surrounding communities, but nationally, internationally, and the way that youth can look up to you, not only in your area, but around the world. And this guy right here is a great example of that, and that's what really makes me proud of him, the way he's embraced it, the way he's taken it on, the way he continues to evolve, the way he continues to grow, and the way he comes back to his roots to get back those additional lessons he needs and advice to be able to grow and move forward and challenge society and the traditional norms and values and beliefs that are presented, because we're not really presented that as a people, as Hispanics, as black. What we're taught is that assimilation is the key to success. But yet it doesn't show you that if you use your mind, that your success and your growth can be experienced through the growth of your mind as a young man, and not through the assimilation of others or through the majority class, which in this day is not really the majority, it's the minority, okay, which still controls media, government, and so on and so forth, which we continue to strive to get our voices heard and become stronger and stronger. Because if you look at Congress and the Senate, that's the old white folks that are still there running it with the old values, and you talk about the 1% and the tea parties and all that other stuff there, which are impacting the decisions we make, and they have no clue of who we are, what's going on, and the challenges and things we face, because they create those situations. We contribute to the situations that they create. But if you open up your mind and you educate yourself and you're open and you embrace change and you work hard to be the best you can be, there's no stopping.
So right, man. I mean, you know, a lot of this starts here, man. It starts at the table. It starts at a point of socializing and talking and just dialoguing like we doing. Like, you know, I think that's one of the things that we just don't do. I mean, you know, we'll turn on the TV and see this one arguing with that one, Republican arguing with Democrat. But I think that people just don't talk, man. Like they talk when they're angry, but we don't sociably sit and conversate. You know what I mean? Like we should. Like I feel like this is what Grown Folks Lounge is about. This is what State of the Game is about. Us just doing this with this. Us, you know, yeah, we're like Sly Stone said, we're everyday people. But we're the people that make up the country. We're the people that buy the brands. We're the ones that, if it wasn't for us, the rich people that are rich wouldn't be rich. You know what I mean? So, but I want to say in closing, Paul, at this time right now, how do you feel Ignite Change is changing or is capable of changing, and what are some of the things you got, you know, planned for the future?
Alright, well, I mean, the possibilities are endless, infinite possibilities, and being around a guy like Ed Roldan, he tells me that every day, so it just shows me even more and more. We have a partnership right now with the Knicks, where we're allowed to go to games and take kids. I just brought 100 kids up to Westchester County Knicks facility a couple days ago, and that changed their minds. Just to see the smiles on their faces is priceless, and exposing their minds to something different. So I mean, Ignite Change moving towards the future is going to be the largest course marketing agency in the world. Absolutely, I have no doubt about it, because I've created a network of people that support me in everything I do, one, and two, I surrounded myself with individuals like Coach Ed, yourself, and many other people across the country that want to see social change, want to see that good, and it starts with us. And you know, I thought about it today when I was on my way over here. I said, you know what, I'm a role model, and that's one of the programs that I'm gonna roll out going into next year. Being a role model. See, rappers, entertainers, they want you to support them, and it's not a knock on them, but as soon as they get in trouble, they say, well, I'm not a role model, your kids shouldn't have been looking at me. I'm embracing the fact. When I leave here, I'm walking through Patterson Projects, I'm a role model at the end of the day. So I'm embracing that fact, and I'm gonna move forward with it, and I'm just gonna do positive things. Ignite Change is gonna be big, because it's not just centered just around sports or academics or athletics, it's life skills, it's building, it's exposing these corporate brands. Look, I'm from the Bronx, New York, the Walmarts, the Chevrolets.
Down FIGGA, stay in the game, though. So Grown Folks Lounge, what we do, y'all. We're in the place to be right now. And right before we was interrupted, we had a little brief interruption. Paul was breaking some things down. So, you know, Paul, where can they get in contact with Ignite? And also, do you have any shout-outs?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, you can check us out on the web. It's www.weignitechange.com. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can click on a hashtag #WeIgniteChange. That's pretty much highlighting everybody across the world who's a model of change. So I'm encouraging all my friends, family, anybody watching this interview, if you do an act of kindness or you see somebody doing an act of kindness, just hashtag #WeIgniteChange, so we can acknowledge you, so we can highlight you, so we can put you on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My personal handle is @PaulNickerson_. So PaulNickerson. That's my handle on Instagram. That's my handle on Twitter. On Facebook, my name is Paul Nickerson. I'm always open to getting new friends. I'm actually top 1% in the world on social media, influentially. You know, as ranked by sites like Clout and Cred.com, who study social media analytics. So, you know, that's another thing that we didn't get into before, but, you know, I always encourage kids that if you're going to use social media, if you're going to use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, it's free, but we're paying the price. You know, we're driving the advertising dollars for Facebook. We're making Mark and those guys rich, and I have nothing wrong with that, because that's their business model. But I personally make money off of it, you know? And I tell kids you can make money off of it as well. So, as far as shout outs, I want to shout out God, and I want to thank him for putting me in the room with you guys today. I want to thank him for everything he's done in my life. I want to thank my mom and my dad, because without them I wouldn't be here today. You know, my dad didn't grow up with a father, so that's why he had an impact on my life. And my mom, she grew up in Spanish Harlem, El Barrio, didn't come for no money. She told me she worked since she was 13, and now she's in her 60s. So, you know, that's why I am who I am today. That's the motivation and inspiration I got. More importantly, since we're here today, I gotta shout out Ed Roldan. It's without a doubt, he's one of my biggest influences in my life, and I still go to him to this day, 22 years later, for advice about anything, about business, about social life, about life skills, because I know he has a vested interest in me, and he knows I have a vested interest in him. And that's how you do things. In life, you gotta develop relationships that last a lifetime. It's not about one-hitter quitters or trying to get over on somebody or doing it quick, you know, make some money real quick. And then, no, we're gonna be making money together and impacting lives for a lifetime as long as I'm here. And I thank Ed for even nominating me as one of his mentees to bring up to this show, because this is real life skills. We're not celebrities, but people in the hood know us, and we've had an impact on many different lives. So, you know, I just want to focus on Ed today, because he's the reason why I'm here today. And I thank him, and I got to thank you for the world to see, Ed, because without you, I definitely wouldn't be who I am, and I really appreciate you. And this isn't no script. We ain't following no script. We're talking real talk. This is a Grown Folks Lounge. Other than that, I got to shout out my mentor, Dr. Tamika Jones. She's one of the biggest females in sports, and you definitely got, if you Google her, you'll find out a lot about her. I got to shout out my partner, Candace Haynes, who I started Ignite Change with. She's a young African-American female from Queens, New York, who has a master's from Columbia. So that within itself sells itself. You know, she's a self-starter like me, goal-oriented, and you're gonna be hearing a lot about her as well. My other partner, Groggle Kenneth H. We got an app called Groggle It's in stores now. You can download it on YouTube. YouTube. You can download it on iTunes. You can download it on the Google Play Store, and it's the most reviewed marketing app right now in both stores. It has a 5-star rating, and what we do is give small businesses an opportunity to have their products marketed. Last but not least, I want to shout out my brothers, Carl and Keith, my big brothers. They had an impact on my life. They're another reason why I am who I am, because they always push me. They always tell me I'm the golden child. They expect more than me. And you know, I got so many friends and so many different people across the country, and you know, I love y'all all. But most importantly, before I go, I just want to say, you know, whatever gift that God gave you inside of your heart, whatever dreams you got, whatever goals, that's a gift from God. And you could accomplish it. All you got to do is put your mind to it, believe in yourself, and if you don't got anybody believing in you, you're looking at 3 men that's believing in you. Because we are agents of change, and we want to see world change, and we want to see everybody accomplish their goals. So I'm signing off. This is Paul Nickerson III. We're in the Grown Folks Lounge, and I just want to thank y'all for viewing in today, and really appreciate y'all. And if you want to do anything in the community, if you want to get your voice heard, if you want to establish any type of programs, come to us and we'll get it done. And we're gonna do it effectively, efficiently, and we're gonna have an impact on millions of lives. So that's it, guys.
I just, you know, once again, I want to thank Paul for coming out tonight. You know, like I said, he inspires me in so many different ways. It lets me know that the work I do is not wasted. It's not a wasted effort. Young men like him inspire me to get up every day and impact many lives. You can reach me on my hotline at 347-863-8946. I'm trying to feed a lot of families during the holiday season right now, and I'm taking a big collection for canned goods. Please, if you hear me, please call me. I'll make arrangements to come pick it up or to let you know where to drop it off at. Bring that to me. I'm doing it in association with the New York Yankees. I want to give a big shout out to Patrick Caruso from Community Board 10, right from the area where we're at and shooting from today. He's been outstanding and running Community Board 10 and putting out information, grants, programs, things that impact the community and keeps you in tune. He's been the best out of probably all the community boards that I deal with, and I got to give him a special shout there. I want to go ahead and thank, once again, you always hear me thank this guy, Richard Acevedo Contracting Incorporated, for 15 years of support and believing in me, not only as a person, but the things I do. I'd like to thank Joe, the owner of BS&F Auto Parts on Bronx River Avenue, for believing in me also and being with me now for 3 years. And I'd like to thank Mr. Pedro Mello from Mama Fifi Groceries, okay, who's been with me for 4 years and has really helped me out a lot. You know, there's a couple other people out there. If I didn't get you, please, you know, I thank all your businesses for reaching out and helping out. But more than anything, I want to thank God also for giving me the opportunity and inspiring me and giving me the breath every day to be able to get up and impact young men like Paul, to make them productive citizens that come back to their community, back to their roots, and give back to what gave to them, to inspire young men and youth in their communities, be it men, be it women, you know, because we can't forget the girls. The girls are just as important, you know. Title IX wasn't put there for any reason. Title IX has a very, very important significance, you know, not only in sports, but just in equality, you know, so I don't want to forget that, you know. Thank my local politicians who have been there for me, Assemblyman Crespo, the Reverend Ruben Diaz Sr., who's our senator. I also like to thank our Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., for acknowledging us in our early years, even though he's a busy man now and doing things. But I want to acknowledge him for giving me my first grant 15 years ago, and here it is 15 years later, and we're still doing positive things. So without Ruben Diaz Jr., you know, was one of the first people that really stood behind the Southeast Bronx Youth Coalition and football and our football programs that have been very, very successful. I would like to also thank the educational institutions across the country that continue to work with us. I'd like to thank USA Football. I'd like to thank Pro Sports Experience, LLC, you know, as the regional director for the New York Giants youth football camps. I want to thank all my volunteers and my staff and all the young men and women that I provide a scholarship to in the 4 NFL markets that we provide, which is, if you don't know, Green Bay, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York. I put out 56 scholarships this year. 56. And almost $500 a scholarship to inspire young women and young men to go out and do something that maybe they haven't, or something that they've wanted to do, and meet people from all over the country and around the world that come in and haven't let me down. My Bronx Ravens, my Southeast Bronx Youth Coalition youth partners have all come in, and my kids have done a great job. My volunteers have done a great job, past and present and moving into the future, and I just can't thank them enough. And I also want to give a shout out to Detective Manuel Perez from the 4-1 on Longwood, who's also helped out, you know, at times in need and found the support, and has also had a small impact on us, you know, and has always been there to support us, and I greatly appreciate that. And then, you know, the holidays are here, so, you know, I just want to thank my parents, you know. Sometimes, you know, we hit the bumps in the road, but you know what? No matter what, at the end of the day, they're my parents. I thank them, I bless them, you know, and I appreciate that, you know, no matter what. You know, they're always going to be my people. And last but not least, I just want my 2 children to know, Ed Roldan Jr. and Amanda Roldan. Amanda will be graduating this year from New Mexico State University with a BS in nursing. She'll be a RN. And my son was just recently accepted into a special program at the University of Central Florida. He'll be a junior now. He'll be in the sciences, you know. He's doing some type of microbiology. And as long as he maintains that 3.2, he'll get a $100,000 scholarship to go ahead and move on to PA school. But more than anything, he's known as Black Bear in the paintball community, and he's a beast when it comes to paintball. And he's been recruited by the University of Central Florida. Paintball is now a Division I sport, and he has been recruited, and he will be playing and leaving his mark on the University of Central Florida. And I just want to let him know I'm real proud of him, and I'm real proud of my daughter. All right, because you know what? Paul grew up with my son. Amanda grew up with my son. Our families go way, way back. They're all kids that came up through, you know, I'll give them their credit, their Boys and Girls Club, and under some of my tutelage and other people there that took interest in them. And that's how Southeast Bronx was created. My 2 other partners, Mark Thompson, Dave Santiago, I want to thank them for years of support. But, you know, the basic principles and fundamentals that we learned were learned through there. And, you know, having a sense of being and a sense of influence, which is one of the 2 of the 4 influential skills that they teach, have been extremely instrumental to all of us in our lives. And I can't thank them enough. And then once again, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Dale B. Drakeford, you know, my longtime mentor who turned me from a roughneck to a humanitarian. And I can never thank him enough, and my teachers that all played a role, and those coaches and those people there. A special shout out to Mike Gross, my operations manager at Pro Sports Experience. And also I want to give a shout out to Tom Finks, owner, president of Pro Sports LLC. And I want to give a shout out to my mentor and regional manager at USA Football, Ed Passanel. And I'm looking forward to working on this project with Paul, expanding their horizons, not only in the sports arena, but academically. And we're looking to take the math maze there, which we can't forget, and taking math maze from a game and making it a major math literacy program by influencing it through play, through academics, through athletics, and making it influential across not only the city, but to roll that out and bring it across America into the cities that I'm serving right now, to the cities that we're going to target, and to the cities that Paul's going to influence. And once I can get that across the country with the help of Paul, with the help of Don, I look to go ahead and put that out globally, to go ahead and continue and influence young men and women and children all around the world. And I just want to thank that. And see this guy right here? I'm telling you, if one day he's not your assemblyman, your senator, your councilman, or your mayor, or the #1 philanthropist, and you hear this guy knocking out Bill Gates out the box, or Warren Buffett,
Coming for you, bro.
all right? He's shooting for you, and you know what? I'm gonna definitely have my boots in the ground for him there. Go ahead and holding his back and pushing him forward and motivating him in whatever ways I can. You know, I'm continuing to go there. I also want to give one big more shout out, and that's to NYU. And I want to continue to thank them for including me with the Sports and Society Division and bringing me down and continuing to invite me down to the free seminars that I attend and meeting great people in the sports world. And it's very, very influential people, from owners to players to lawyers, everybody who impacts sports on the business side, not on the court, on the business side. All the players that put the money, the marketing, the sales, and the task, to fruition, to say the least. And Don FIGGA, you and EMAN, I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity not only to expose the Southeast Bronx Youth Coalition, the Bronx Ravens, and other programs that I do with the Yankees and Major League Baseball and the NFL and USA Football, USA Table Tennis that I've done, the U.S. Olympic Center, and I could just go on and on and on. But, I just want to thank you for giving me a media and a source to reach out thousands and thousands of people at one time and to showcase my hard work and my trust and my belief in a person like Paul Nickerson, to come out on the show and to shine and show that, there's more to us than meets the eye. If you take the time to come and really check me out, I can influence you for a lifetime if you believe enough in me to trust me enough and believe in what I tell you and follow the plan I lead out. And this is my proof right here. So I just want to thank you. EMAN, you're the greatest. I appreciate you all and all your work behind the scenes. All right? And how you help us out and how you're going to continue to help us out and how we're going to help you keep growing that business right there. And on that note there, Don FIGGA, have a safe and blessed holiday. May your church prosper during the holiday season and your work and your commitments to the community continue to shine. And I know that us coming together and becoming a brotherhood and a force together with our influences, no matter what roads we've walked down, positive, negative, we're human, we make mistakes, we all deserve chances to bounce back and become positive influences, because God will always guide us and God will always show us the right path to go down to, as long as you believe. And I consider all three of us here that we've all been through things, but I consider myself a modern day Job. I consider you yourself to be a modern day Job, and I consider you to be a modern day Job because of where we come from and how we influence there. And if anybody out there don't know who Job is, get into that Bible and read about him, because that's the person that's going to teach you about faith and loyalty and how the loyalty tenfolds itself when God decides it's time to pay you back.
That's awesome, man. Again, man, I'm honored to have you guys here, man. And this is only part one, y'all. So don't, like I said, we can't put it all in one interview. But we're periodically going to be coming back, talking with Ed, talking with Paul, because it's official, y'all. We all just made that decision that we're going to come together to fight the good fight, man, and we're going to network together and do all we can, man, to help bring positive influence, positive mentorship, and opportunities to those that don't have it. So, we just want to say shout out to everybody, Q Media Nation, Live Underground Vibes, Urban World Daily, Judas Star Entertainment, Urban Soul Media, Black Westchester Magazine, Aspirations Cafe, Soul Shack Food, Eat Pray London, Solid Rock United Methodist Church. The list goes on, man. We love everybody, y'all. We love y'all, man. You know what we do, man. Legendary EMAN, Grown Folks Lounge. That's what we doing. Don't worry, yo. We gonna get back to the mixes soon, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting hit up, man. We haven't been doing that little mix sessions. But we gonna get back to that soon, y'all. Right now, it's important for us to get y'all this information because it ain't about partying all the time.
Hey, there's one person I forgot to give a big shout out to. And, man, this brother believes in me a lot, And he's got two businesses. He's got one right across the street from the old White Castle, right there on Rosedale between the